Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. Today I'm joined by Dr. Valentina Leonett. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
All right. Founder and CEO of New Tempo Family Dental, a top-ranked dentist, speaker, and entrepreneur who turned 10 dental school rejections into 2 7-figure practices before the age of 30. Well done. Her message is simple and powerful. Rejection is not the end of the story. It may be the beginning of your reinvention. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
All right. So this is a common theme I've run into with successful people, right? It's not like a one attempt and one easy victory and you're successful. My wife in particular, right? She applied to medical school multiple times over years and was about to give up, right? When right, and move on. But maybe you can sort of, your bio starts with a great line, right? The best thing that ever happened in my career was I was told I couldn't. Right? Can you go ahead and start there? Let us know what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 17 years old, I made the decision to move from Venezuela, which is where I'm from, to the US because I wanted to be a dentist. And in that
It
moment,
sounds like a really good call.
yeah. In that moment, I thought it was as easy as like I'd move here, I get all the right grades, I do everything right, and then get into dental school.
Okay,
And
I want to stop you right there. This sounds like a very interesting story, but what was the influence? Why did you know you wanted to go be a dentist at 17?
oh, I love that question. So when I was 5, I actually have a picture of myself pretending to be a dentist with my dolls.
Ah,
So I grew up in a healthcare family. My
okay,
parents were physicians. My parents were dentists. My
okay,
uncles and aunts were in the medical field. And so I was exposed to healthcare really early on.
okay, okay.
But I wanted to be a dentist, and
Sure.
for the longest time, people were like, really? You want to look into people's mouths all day? That sounds not so fun.
Yep.
But I was always interested in it. And
Okay.
so in Venezuela, things are a little bit different. Pretty much by your junior year of high school, you have to know what you want to be.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, there's no college to kind of figure it out. You go straight from high school into whatever career path you decide. And so at a very young age, I started shadowing different career options.
Do you
And
think that was a good thing that you were sort of forced to evaluate sooner?
I think so, at least for me, because it gave me kind of like that north and orientation of where I wanted to
Okay.
go, what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I think being rudderless is bad, but
Yeah.
I also think you're not fully developed,
Mhm.
so it's hard to make
Exactly.
life decisions too soon
Yeah.
to balance. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what was interesting, right? I moved to the US and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I went to college, took the classes, I had everything mapped out. And in the meantime, I was in class with people who were like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm kind of like, trying to figure it out as I go.
Mhm.
And at that moment in my mind, it didn't make sense, right? I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what you want to do? Why are you in college then?
Right.
There's a reason why we're doing this. In my case, it was a prerequisite for dental school, and for 3 years I did everything I was supposed to. Took the classes I was supposed to, the tests, the scores, all the stuff, built up my resume, and then I applied to dental school. And that first year, I got rejected from every single school I applied to. And I just
How'd
felt
that feel?
my world came crashing down.
Yeah.
I had prepared my whole life for this, right? I made the decision to move to a new country all alone, and then all of a sudden it disappears. Like I don't know where I stand. And it was a great opportunity for me to really do some introspection and look at myself and think about what I wanted in life and if I was willing to move forward with it.
Okay. Yeah, that's wow. So just to back up a second,
Hmm.
so many successful people I know, that's the first thing they say is to get clear on what you want, right? How are you going to get it if you don't know what it is,
Yeah.
right? That's it, and that's something. Um, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger too, right? I mean, it's just you can pivot, right? Once you achieve this, then you go on and do the next thing or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have to like stick to it forever, but you have to focus on something. And the growth is when it's not easy. So you didn't give up.
Mhm.
You were crushed, but how long did you ever have a pity party and sit in there for a while?
I did. You know what? Something really funny, and I say funny as interesting, happened to me was that the day after I found out I got rejected from every school, I lost my voice. I woke up the next morning and I couldn't speak.
Oh,
I wasn't sick. I didn't have a sore throat. There was just nothing coming out. And in that moment, I didn't understand what that meant. But it was great because I didn't have to tell anyone what was going on. I had an
yeah.
excuse to just be quiet. But I later found out that neuroscience pretty much tells us that your brain cannot tell the difference between a broken bone and a broken dream. You respond the same way to rejection that you do to physical pain. And so my body was just protecting me from that hurt and that pain that I had. So I did sit with it and it was uncomfortable and it was hard. But what I learned from it was that I wasn't willing to give up. I had already worked so hard and sacrificed so much to get to where I wanted to be. I just needed to reinvent myself in the process. What could I do differently?
That's a big switch, though. Can you share a little bit more about that? I mean, how that doesn't become proof that you can't do it and becomes fuel, right? That
Mhm.
you can.
Yeah. Um, so I was an international student. I was in a student visa. The odds were not really in my favor. Let's put it that way. Out of
Mhm.
65 dental schools that I could apply to, only 20 of them accepted international students. And out of
Right.
those 20, I had to meet certain criteria. So I sat down and said, okay, if I can only apply to 20 and these are the only things that I can change. At that point, I couldn't really change my GPA. I couldn't change I could improve volunteer hours and community service hours, but
Mhm.
what can I change? What is a structural thing that I can improve on so that when I apply next time, they're not looking at the same person on paper?
Right.
And what I realized was that for those 3 years, I was doing the same thing that everyone else had been doing. There was nothing that made me stand
You
out.
don't. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, what can I do that I enjoy that can make me stand out? And I went back to extracurricular activities that had nothing to do with dentistry. I started dancing again. I was on a salsa team, which was really fun.
Oh, wow.
And I got to travel the country and I got to meet new people and I got different life experiences. And then I retook the dental admissions test. I'm like, this is the one test that I can show that I can improve on. And I improved significantly. But it was
Excellent.
because I had a clear path now on studying this way didn't work for me. Let me try
Mhm.
it my way again. Let me do this how I know I can succeed. But it took a lot of writing down on pieces of paper, scratching, crossing off, highlighting, and seeing where I could find areas that made me unique that I could
Mhm.
improve on to show that I was a different person on that application.
Nice. That's a good lesson for a lot of people. I mean, my daughter, for example, is in high school still, and in the U.S., we're tribal creatures, and at that age, those are you want to fit in, right? And you don't realize the power of standing out from the
Yes.
crowd. And yeah, it becomes yeah when you're on the market, it becomes very obvious you need to stand out. But
Yeah.
that's a tough one. And you eventually graduated top of your class,
Hmm.
right? Congratulations.
Yes, I did.
What
Thank you.
that's got to help bolster. What did that prove to you?
To be completely honest, it just proved to myself that I could do the thing.
Okay,
That
just
regardless
reinforcement.
of where you start, yeah, regardless of where you start, you are able to come back from it and do it better. Um, I didn't even know that there was like that ranking system until I found out I had made it into top of my class for
Hmm.
graduation. Um,
Okay,
and I think it was good for me that I wasn't set and fixated on making it and getting that goal, except I was just
okay.
working hard and knowing that I had to take advantage of every single minute I had in school.
Nice.
Because the moment you're out in the real world, that's a whole other story.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's kind of a distraction, really. You put your head down, you get to work on what matters.
Yeah.
There's a great story of it was I forget his name, PGA champion who he was focused on his game and he sunk the putt and everybody freaked out and he's like, "Oh, that was the 18th hole." He's like, "Oh, I won." Right? He was that focus. So, um, did you always know you were going to go with sort of the entrepreneurial route? I mean, a lot of dentists join existing practices, right?
Hmm. Yes and no, if that makes sense. Yes, because I always knew I wanted to have my own business, but no, I wasn't expecting it to be straight out of dental school. I graduated dental school, got married, and purchased my first practice within 3 weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
there was a lot of change in my life happening.
Sure. Sure.
Uh, I just started looking at practices because when I was in school, I took a lot of classes and paid for a lot of additional training to learn how to own a dental practice because I wanted
Okay.
to be ready.
Was
And
that part of was that like affiliated with your program, or is that something that you did totally
I
on your
did
own?
on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, I would find conferences and events that would have discounted prices for students. Sometimes it was even free for students. And
Nice.
yeah, I took advantage of as much as I could. I networked, I connected with people, I asked questions. And then I started looking for practices just to see what the process was like, just to see what was out there on the market. And I came across this practice. It was a retiring doctor who unfortunately got sick. He couldn't continue working, and it was going to be a pretty quick transition. And he wanted someone who was actually going to continue his legacy.
Nice.
Um, and so I put in an offer, not expecting them to say yes. And I got a phone call like, hey, he accepted your offer. And I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this.
Right. It's
And
on.
yeah,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
I graduated dental school in May. We did some remodeling. We opened our doors in July, and
Wow.
our practice has been growing tremendously.
Excellent. And this is the Tempe location.
This is our Tempe location. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And you have a new location in Phoenix, is that right?
I do have a new location, Midtown Phoenix. Yeah.
All right. Is the I think you said told me before the show, team of 11 is the plan to continue to grow and scale, maybe buy other practices or build your own from scratch somewhere
Yes,
in there?
it
Both?
is. It is
Okay.
a little bit of both. Yeah. We grew really quickly because I have a different philosophy and approach to care. I want to make sure every patient has the opportunity to feel seen, be heard, feel valued in the practice. And there's no cookie cutter method, I believe, in dentistry or medicine in general. And so I take my time, I sit down, we talk to patients, and we've grown really quickly because of that. I have patients that drive all the way out from Buckeye and Goodyear to be able to see me, especially when I was in Tempe. That's almost a 45-minute drive.
That's a strong testimony.
Yeah. Especially with construction on the I-10. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. For
But
sure.
that's what's been encouraged me and pushing me to continue doing this. And time and time again, I see more patients just trying to find that provider that will actually take the time to sit down and listen. And that's what our whole team is about. I also speak Spanish. My whole team speaks Spanish. So
Okay.
it's a good practice builder.
Yeah.
It's great for our patients, and it's our way to help the community too.
For sure. For sure. Awesome. Yeah, it's a strong attribute to have here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Um, Circling back to Venezuela. So, did you is business ownership something that was a factor coming from there? Did you appreciate the differences in that regard?
So it's funny because I moved here when I was 17, right? At
Hmm.
14, 15 years old, I didn't really understand um, what went into ownership back home. And the
Hmm.
only way of comparing it is just asking my parents or talking to them about what I'm planning on doing and just seeing the differences in it. Or talking to people, internationally trained dentists, for example, that had their practices back home and are now here and understanding
Okay.
the difference. I think the biggest tool that we have here that is lacks back in Venezuela is simply access to funds and investments and
Hmm.
partnering with people to help
Okay.
you grow.
Okay.
It's not as common to see that back home.
Yeah. Different economy.
Totally. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. You have a fair amount of family back in Venezuela?
My parents recently moved to the States. My brother is
Okay.
as well. So what I have back home would be grandparents, aunts,
Okay.
uncles, cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were part of the exodus in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. Okay. What do most people misunderstand about running a dental practice as a real business?
I used to think that running a dental office was completely different than running a regular business. It's not. The sooner I understood that, like as soon as it made sense, my practice completely changed and transformed. There's still production, there's still expenses. We still have to keep tabs of everything we're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
You need revenue to run the business.
Exactly. Yep. But I think the key differentiator is that human component. I am
Sure.
not selling a product. I'm dealing with people. I have people with actual stories and dreams and aspirations in my chair. And the way that we connect and we are able to find what they are looking for and a solution to that problem that brought them in is the key to us having a successful business because we are able
Right.
to help that desire that they have inside. And so it's a combination of both, is that people, that human component, having a team that also has that human
Hmm.
component, and then being able to translate that into operations.
Which has been the hardest, the service part, the trust part, or the operations for you?
The service part. Yeah,
Okay.
finding a team that gets the philosophy and as bad as it sounds, you have to care. You have to care about the patient that's in the chair. It's not a
Right.
clock in, clock out kind of thing. I go
Yeah.
home and if I did a surgery, I'm still worrying about my patient about how they're spending the night.
Right. And that's really screening and hiring because
Yeah.
in most businesses and most people I've talked to, you can't train someone to care. You
I
hire
tell
for it.
anytime I hire someone, I tell them I can't teach you how to care. I can't teach you how to care about your job, how to care about your patients. I can teach you the skills to be
Right.
successful in this job, but I can't teach you that part. And if you don't have that naturally, this is not the place for us, for
Right.
you.
Good stuff. Thank you. Okay. So, um, what is the reinvention method and who is that designed for?
That is the framework I came up with as I started doing my keynote speaking.
Okay.
So I'll bring you back a little bit.
Yeah.
I loved speaking since I was a little girl. I always had a dream to be on stage and speak. I didn't know what I would be speaking about. And so when I was in dental school, I was able to teach other dentists how to speak Spanish, dental
Hmm.
terminology in Spanish, and I started kind of dipping my toes into it. And by the moment I graduated dental school, I realized that I had a powerful story to share because I had not seen anyone own a practice straight out of school and build what I was building. But there was a part of me that was still kind of afraid to share that rejection story and not
Oh,
feel
sure. Be
that,
vulnerable.
yep,
Yep.
yep. Um, and it was tough. And then I realized that every stage of my life, everything I've built, I've pretty much reinvented myself in the process. When I became a business owner, I had to leave behind the dental school mindset and philosophy that, you know, was the basis of everything and just reinvent it to be able to
Right.
provide the care that I wanted. And so that's kind of how the reinvention method was born. It's pretty much for leadership and how to tackle those rejections, how to tackle the no's, the feeling of failure and shame, and reinventing it and using it as a catalyst for growth and
Right.
purpose.
Yeah. You said it was tough to talk about. It's also tough to go through it, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
Really, life's tough, and it
Yeah.
and that tough stuff, that struggle, is really where the good stories are and where the valuable lessons are, and that's where the progress is too,
Yeah.
right?
And
Because
I
it's on the
think
border of your ability, right? That's why it's hard.
yep. And I learned the hard way that how I was dealing with rejection and the relationship that I had with that rejection and that failure and being told no was translating into my business. It was translating into how I showed up for my team. It was translating into how they acted and the ideas that they brought to me and how we responded to it. The moment that I made that shift of just allowing them to have that opportunity to bring the ideas, even if they were going to hear the word no, things changed because now they're more proactive about finding solutions for the office. We've been able to find other sources of revenue that could have gone unnoticed if we had not
Right.
opened that door for conversations to happen.
Right. That's the difference between learning from it, from rejection, and
Yeah.
letting rejection make your decisions,
Yeah.
and coming from, I guess, a place of fear, right?
Yeah.
So talk more about your speaking and personal brand and how much of that is overlaps. I imagine it's largely in the dental community, but where is it going? Yeah, how did it start? What are you doing now, and what do you envision for that
So
side of your efforts?
it all started in 2024 when I was on maternity leave. I was at home. It was my first daughter. I only have one daughter, but my first daughter,
So far.
yeah, so far. I'm someone that's used to being on the go, seeing patients, running a business, doing stuff. And then when I was forced to be home for 3 months, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was up late nights, breastfeeding, taking care of my daughter. And I came across a course about like how to transform your business into like a speaking career. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I've always been drawn to this. And so I started doing this course literally like 2, 3 a.m. when I was up with her. And I started applying to events to just speak on leadership and reinvention in the process, which is what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I haven't dipped my toes as much in the dental community because of that uh, closeness and tie to it. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging for people in the same space to see exactly where you're coming from. So I lean more towards leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs who are going through that initial phase of, hey, I'm applying for a loan to start my business and I keep getting rejected. Like, at what point do you decide I'm just going to give up and this is not for me? That's the person I talk to because I went through that as well. So many banks told me no. I think I lost count of how many because I was too
Right.
young, because I didn't have enough experience, XYZ. There was always a reason.
Right.
Yet I still was able to make it work. And sometimes it's just about learning to pivot, learning to ask for help, making the right connection. And that's where the
Or
speaking.
knowing it's a numbers game. You just keep asking until you
That
get it
too.
done. Yeah.
That too. Yeah. And that's kind of how my second practice came to be. I was about to give up. I was like, okay, I just need to wait. Sometimes it's time. I just need to wait so I can open a second location. And someone said, talk to this person. Like, I know he's going to be able to help you. And I was like, everyone has said that, but sure, let's try
Right.
talking to him and see if
What?
he can help me.
Turn
And
over one more
rightfully
stone.
so. Yep,
Okay.
he was the one to help me get my second office up and running. So that's the person I want to talk to and just show them that it is possible to build whatever you have in mind.
Excellent. Um, in speaking both English and Spanish, does your message land differently with different audiences?
I think there is a difference versus being, from the Hispanic community and speaking Spanish versus English.
Hmm.
And it kind of goes back to our initial conversation about business in different countries and how
Right.
things are done. I think we all see it from a different standpoint.
Hmm.
What I've seen with a lot of immigrants is that you move to a new country and you have all these dreams and the American dream, and
Hmm.
there's this hunger inside you, and it becomes less practical and less about the numbers game, and it becomes more about the emotion and the fuel and just that power and that passion that's inside you.
Right. Right. That's huge. Yeah. It can't be a material box you check, right?
Yeah,
That's not gonna keep you unless you keep changing the goalpost, but even then it's pretty
yeah,
empty. It's not very fulfilling.
exactly.
You were named Phoenix Business Journal 40 under 40
Yeah.
and top dentist and all those things. Well, that's always nice, but what do those recognitions mean to you?
This has been a recent online debate that I've had with people. Do I think that awards are significant and important? Sure, they have some value to it, but I don't think that they actually define a person. In 10 years, those awards won't matter, but
Right.
I do know that it validates everything that I'm building and that I'm working towards,
Right.
especially at such a young age. I'm 30. I have built successful businesses, but it's not because I've done it alone. I've put myself in the ringer, I've made sacrifices, and I've been willing to go down with it if it didn't work out because I believed in it. And I think a lot of people see a success story and they think that it would just happened overnight. They don't see they don't see the
Yep.
girl that lost her voice. They don't see the nights that I was up trying to crunch numbers and figure out how I was going to meet payroll.
Yeah.
They don't see the struggles and all the applications and the timeless hours that I spent
Sure.
filling out applications and talking to people on the phone and just learning and fueling myself. So, do I appreciate the awards? Absolutely. I'm very grateful for them, but I also think that regardless if I had the award or not, I would still be the same person that I am today.
Okay. Right. Nice. Yeah. A lot of people, that's a common thing. People tell themselves stories and they look at other, oh, it must be nice.
Mhm.
Oh, her parents were dentists, so she had it easy, or so all that.
I get that one a
Um,
lot. Yeah.
yeah. So why Phoenix?
Oh,
You came to Florida, right?
yeah. So I moved from the US to Florida. I did my undergrad there. I lived there for 5 years. I loved Florida. It was really similar to being back home. I loved the beach. And then when I was in the process of interviewing for dental school, I came out to Arizona to interview at AT Still. It's in Mesa.
Okay.
And they planned it perfectly because I came out in November. The weather was beautiful.
That's right.
And I love sunsets. That was the most beautiful sunset I had seen my whole life. And
Nice.
the school was just perfect. It was a perfect fit for me. And I
Okay.
remember walking out of that interview and telling myself, if I get a yes from the school, I'm moving here.
Okay.
So that's
Nice.
exactly what happened. They were the first school to call me on December 1st and tell me that I had gotten accepted.
Yes.
And I made,
Done.
yeah, I was like, we're done. I don't need to hear from anyone else. I started packing my bags and planning everything. And then I moved out here, love Phoenix. And I still had in the back of my mind, I'll graduate and then move back to Florida. It's a closer flight home. It just made sense logistically. But then I met my husband, and my husband has lived here his whole life. At
Okay.
that
Found a
time,
native.
yep, at that time, my family was still in Venezuela, and I had nothing really to go back to Florida for, and besides just liking the beach. And so
There's
we,
no beaches here.
yeah.
Not really. Not really.
It's okay. I like traveling too, so it's an
Yeah.
excuse to go. But yeah, we decided to stay here. And then the second part of that is that I saw there was a huge need for Spanish speaking dentists. When I was in school, there were very few of us that could speak Spanish, and there's still very few doctors in the Valley that are able to provide support to the Hispanic community. And so I saw myself as a great tool and asset for that. And here we are, 8 years later since I made the first move, and I absolutely love it.
Excellent. Excellent. Great stuff. Great story. Um, Valentina, reflecting on your journey, what do you wish you might have known sooner? I mean, you're still very young, but right? I mean, in terms of building wealth or success in your career.
I think stop trying to fit in. It's kind of what the things
Ah,
we talked about.
yeah, shine.
Yep. Don't
Yeah,
be afraid to shine. I think a lot of us are afraid to showcase what makes us different because we don't want to stand out as much. We're not ready for that attention. We're not ready for the good and the bad comments that will come from it. And I wish I could tell my younger self that shrinking myself is not helping anyone,
right.
especially not myself. I was only hindering my progress by doing that. And the moment that I let go of those walls and those barriers, it just skyrocketed.
Nice. Good one. Good one. All right, Dr. Valentina Leonett. If people would like to connect with you and learn more,
Yes.
where can they go? What should they do?
They can find me on Instagram, Dr. Valentina Leonett, or LinkedIn. Those are kind of like the two main platforms that I'm on right now. TikTok a little bit here and there.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm always open to connect with other entrepreneurs, business owners, founders, dentists. I love building a community and a network that I can support because
Excellent.
if one person grows, we all grow together.
Heck yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Valentina Leonett, for joining me today. Very much appreciate you sharing your story. Great one.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.